Alright guys, so this is a 2005 Ford Ranger. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be another quick one because it's just the time involved and I already know what's going on. But the check engine light's on, and the customer's complaint was that it didn't take fuel, kept shutting off, and when he would add fuel, the car was hard to start, or the truck. So during the emission test, before I knew what was going on, I've had the hard restart issues on Hyundais and Kias and some other cars with the purge valve sticking open, and when you fill the tank you get all those fresh fuel vapors. Sometimes it'll set rich and lean codes depending on whether you just filled the tank or or if it was low on fuel and the tank was empty, it would run the lean codes, and when you add fuel it would get that system rich right away. I was kind of leaning that way, and when I was running the emission test you could hear the trucks running. I don't know, hopefully we can catch it, but I pulled the cap off to do the gas cap test part, and you hear that hiss and the truck on me before it actually stalled. So it won't stall now, but if you look at my I'm going to show you the scan data first because that's where I'm at. But if you look at, we had the let's see if I can find it, the Evap vapor management, so it's not even trying to purge now. We'll lock that one, and it has the fuel tank pressure voltage. So right now it's at like 6/10. Key on engine off, it was like 2 volts. So I'm gonna take the cap off if I can get this to where you can see it, and I pull the fuel tank cap off, and truck starts surging. Didn't stall unfortunately, but it went up to 2.5 volts. So just pretty simple. I have a purge valve sticking, but my only other concern is that I could also have something with the vent, could be stuck closed or plugged as well, because it's pulling under so much vacuum and it's not bleeding through the canister, and that might be why I'm not able to add fuel. So I know I got the purge issue. Alright, so under the hood, battery, master cylinder, there is the purge valve right there. So pretty simple. Gonna pull that one out real quick and take a look. Alright, so because it is leaking, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm talking to myself. No smart words. Since it's leaking, I'm not even going to bother control side of it, because when I blow on it, it leaks. So I don't know if that caught that on film or not, but simple as that. So throw that in, then I'm going to see what happens on the other end. Alright, so the only one I could get today is the one without the bracket, but that one passed the blow test. But the cheaper, I think it's Borg Warner BWD, doesn't have the test port on it, which could stink for future diagnostics, but this is for a waiver and they need a sticker, and it is what it is. So that's in. We got the fuel cap is on. Turn the key back on. We'll go to Go to my data stream again. I was under the emissions one. So we have the canister vent, the vapor management, lock that one. That's a percentage. The other one, okay, there's the amperage too. I'm not worried about that. And the fuel tank pressure. So we have 2.63. Start it up, and it's staying at 2.63. Now, if it does decide to purge, you would want to watch this one up here. My fingers don't want to. That one's locked. Okay. You would want to watch the top one. If it starts trying to purge, of course, that's going to drop. So you want to make sure that it's not purging and you're not fooling yourself. But so that's that. I wonder what my fuel trims are doing now. So my fuel trims, so they're still around 10 on the long term. My short term is going a little bit more negative, so that one's not a good indication of what's going on right now, because you do have fuel vapors and stuff going on. I have about a half tank, so that one wasn't a really good indication. But now I pull the cap off and it doesn't hiss and the car doesn't run rough. So from the purge standpoint, it's fixed. Now I don't know if when it does decide to purge, if it does pull it under too much vacuum because the vent doesn't work, or the canister is clogged, or the tube coming off of the vent is packed with mud. I don't know that much yet, but the only code I had from the beginning, well, I have a couple converter codes, and I did set the vent code because I actually have it unplugged right now, so it might not even try to do the purge. But codes I had was the 2 CAD codes, the vent one I set, and the 1450. That's the code I'm chasing, and it says unable to bleed fuel tank vacuum. So just knows it's pulling it and it can't shut the purge off and vent it. So it knew. So let's go check out the vent. So there's the rear differential. Light is on or off. And there's the spare tire, and there's the canister above the spare tire, and the vent is sticking out right there. So I don't know if I can pull that out. It looks like I might have to drop the spare tire. I don't know. So that's where I'm at next. I'm gonna pull that bugger out. Alright, so this is the vent valve, and it is not plugged. And it snaps in this way, so there's an O-ring and just 2 little spring tabs, and then on the back side is where it actually goes to the vent filter, and it sits like way up back in here. I have it off to the side. Really not going to be able to see, but I have a old like PCV line or something that was the same size where I can check and just see if the vent line into the filter is plugged, because it wouldn't matter if the vent valve worked if it can't breathe. But I can blow through this too, so that's not plugged. So unfortunately, it's probably as far as I'm going to go with this today, because I have enough to do the waiver. If he still has a fill issue, you know, one of the lines could be plugged, or the canister itself could be saturated and plugged, not allowing any airflow. So I don't know if that's a different issue or not, but we fixed the unable to bleed off the purge code with that sticking purge valve. I just don't know if it's going to show back up, honestly, under a different code, because if there is a restriction in the canister. So I don't know if I can run a service bay on these or not, or try a purge and seal. We'll try that, but I'm going to put this stuff back together and we will see. They did just give me a new one of these too. I think it was cheap. Added the 2 easy components for the waiver. One definitely fixed the problem. This one, I'm not even going to bother checking it. They just wanted to throw it in to try to solve all their issues, so that's where we're at. Alright, so I'm actually able to do an Evap system test. It says fuel level between 1585 and hard fault DTC should be repaired, which we did the purge, but it might not let me run it with the check engine light still on. So it won't do a small leak, but we'll just see in park. If the test does not start, hold the idle up. Started doing something. Yeah, cool, we can look at stuff. So we have the canister is closed. Why did it say RPM? The vapor management, it's not doing anything yet. We'll lock that one. Fuel tank pressure, we'll lock that one. Alright, so right now all we know is nothing. I guess it brought the idle up to warm up, maybe. It says it's not running. So it's not ready yet, I guess.
What are you coming up with, Johnny?
I'm trying to run the Evap test and see.
Still stall when you take the cap off?
No, that part's fixed. It says it passed. So all it's doing is checking for a gross leak, but I won't be able to set a monitor that way. So, it passed. So I don't want to do it again. Turn normal state. So unfortunately that's as far as I'm gonna get to go today, pending codes. So we didn't even get rid of any of the pending codes. Whatever. So I can at least run my emission test with the repair I did and issue a waiver, and then he can let me know if he still has issues filling the fuel tank. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that before. I've seen it on like GMs and stuff, with the canister just gets totally plugged up and it won't vent that way. So I don't know if this is tied to that or not. So if you guys got any input, let me know. But it's a real quick and dirty diagnosis and emissions waiver for me. So thanks for watching. Alright, so I ran my emission test and entered all my data for that, but it looks like there's one more thing I could try here. I'm on the vapor management valve. And I can turn it on. I already stalled it trying to do this, so I'm going to have to raise the RPMs. But you can look at the fuel tank pressure, and we'll turn. You mean conditions not correct? I already stalled it once, so we'll turn it off. We have the on-off command. Cycle the key. Get into the test portion here. And you see my fuel tank pressure is 1.67 volts. So if I hold the RPM up, turn it on, it's starting to run rough. I have it at 1 amp. Looks like that's as far as they can pull it with the, so if I turn it off, pull that gas tank cap for me, Nick. Nick's gonna pull the tank, the gas cap off and see if this comes up. What? Oh yeah. Now there's a restriction, Nick.
So it is not fixed, or it is fixed?
Well, the actual purge vacuum is. Take that back off again. I'm gonna have to back out of this. Alright, so I gotta go full disclosure on this one.
Don't want to give your viewers motion sickness.
Oh yeah. Is all that dirt on you from that?
It's like a cloud coming out.
Really? After I ran the test, I just, for the heck of it, I don't even know how much of it I caught. I was showing, I wanted to energize the purge, right, and watch my fuel tank pressure, and then I wanted to stop it and see if it vented back to normal, you know, atmospheric pressure, and it stayed under a vacuum. I'm like, oh man. So I pulled the new purge valve out, and it was stuck open, just like this one. And this one I dropped, which I don't know if I caught that on film, but when I dropped it, it's now sealed. This is the old one. And, you know, so now I'm going further because whatever I did is not going to last. I don't know if you can see. Unfortunately, it's in a bubble wrap bag, but when I unplugged the line down at the tank, all this carbon came out at the halfway point, just blowing through that line back to the tank, and then we put that line back together and went all the way back to the canister, and it blew out like a cloud of dust. So the canister on this car is actually deteriorated and is being sucked into the purge system, which means no matter what I did today, I didn't fix shit. So Nick's gonna try to talk him into a canister, right? Mm-hmm. Right? But it is what it is, man. I mean, if he wants to stop now, I can do a waiver. I'm gonna clean that purge out, energize it, and blow all the junk out, maybe, or maybe get another one. I'm not sure, but we blew this line out all the way back to the canister. Like I said, dust came out, and then I sprayed some brake clean in there and blew that out. So it may last a little bit of time before that carbon makes it all the way up in there, but this stuff here looks like mouse turds.
Oh, you could show them mouse turds. Look at the dumpster.
Oh yeah, from that air filter box. Yeah. I didn't film that one. Yeah, so we've had stink bugs clog up mass airflow sensors and mouse turds. Anyway, so I don't know if this car is going to be fixed, but if you ever run across one, maybe pull that line off and blow it out too if you get one of these purges sticking, because usually, I mean, even the Hyundais, usually it's a canister thing that's probably, you know, getting sucked through, just like the Toyota 446 codes with that vacuum switching valve, and that's why you can't buy them. They just sell you the whole canister. Anyway, so we'll call it diagnosed, and that's probably why it doesn't take gas either. The canister is probably saturated or something. It won't vent at all. But it's diagnosed and may or may not be fixed, but that's what it is. So once again, thanks for bearing through this and watching. Thanks.